I'm so grateful to be here this afternoon, and it was an honor to be asked to give a short reflection of my time at Northeastern. It's been a wild 3 years that has at times felt like eternity, and other times like the blink of an eye. As my husband said recently, thank God for Instagram, or we probably wouldn't remember the last few years of our lives, which is slightly problematic because we have 3 kids that we might want to remember. My youngest, Aaron, was 8 months old when I started seminary in 2015. And my first semester was one of the craziest and most trying transitions of my adult life. I'm not sure if it was delirium from lack of sleep because my kid wasn't sleep trained yet, or Dr. Middleton's lectures that made me question everything I knew about the Bible and God. But much like the pathetic whimper just days after our first son was born, when I looked at my husband and said, "What did we do?" I remember sitting on our couch after Dr. Middleton's second lecture and telling my husband what I learned and having him just look at me and say, "Then what do we even believe?" The reality is that I've grown immensely over the last 3 years. And as I look back over this season as a student at NES, a mother to 3 boys, a wife, a pastor in training, I realize how much parenting prepared me for my time in seminary and beyond. I think there are 3 parenting lessons that we can really talk about today that just helped me survive my time at NES. So first, there is no instruction manual. I know that we have the Bible and I'm not a heretic, but there really is no instruction manual for kids or seminary. There is no single way to survive either of these experiences, so you just do whatever works. In my first semester, I figured out that on days when my boys wouldn't nap, that I could strap them into the car and drive just far enough out of town to get them to fall asleep. And then I would voice to text my reading reflections into memos on my phone, email them to myself, and reformat them later. The car nap helped me write several papers. I have written papers in the Target parking lot. I read Calvin, Barth, and Irenaeus in the school pickup line. In parenting and in seminary, you do what works, you improvise, and sometimes you have to change your standards just a little. Second, you can make as many plans as you want, but real life is messy and unpredictable. When my first child was born, I intended to have an unmedicated birth and be a cloth diapering, attachment parent who made their own organic baby food and would never show their children television. And yet now, my kids think dino nuggets are a solid family dinner. They know how to order for themselves at McDonald's. They know the words to every Disney Channel movie, and my 3-year-old can unlock my cell phone and find his favorite YouTuber. Don't judge me. I've been in seminary for 3 years. Similarly, when I started this program, I was in the Albany cohort, which was only 15 minutes from my house. It was on Thursday nights, and it was where I intended to complete my program. But by October of my first semester, John Belschwinder and I were the only ones left. And we knew that our plans probably weren't on the table anymore. So first we switched from cohort 36 core classes to Albany cohort 34 post-core classes on Mondays. We did that for 2 semesters. And then in December of 2016, John and I got an email just a few weeks before class started telling us that we would actually finish post-core in Albany while also joining a new cohort and completing core in Syracuse. So, John and I like to say that we have taken the official tour of Northeastern Seminary. My path through NES is nothing like I would have planned. It has felt impossible at times. It was not easy for Marilyn and Dr. Cullum to figure out how to get us through, but it has been more rewarding and life-changing than I ever could have imagined. I've learned to be flexible, to release control, and to trust the process. Finally, the only way to survive parenting or seminary is in a community. I wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for the dozens of people who supported me throughout this process. My husband is a complete rock star and the absolute best cheerleader I ever could have asked for. He sends me to coffee shops when I'm stressing about deadlines, tells me to go to bed early when it's clear I'm getting cranky, and sometimes somehow finds time to manage Little League teams and sit on the board. He also taught me to believe in myself and to embrace my gifts. My parents, my siblings, and my friends have rescued me from childcare disasters. They've picked up my kids and taken them to their activities on class nights and kept me going when I didn't think I could take one more step. My 3 boys have been so patient throughout this process. They started school, changed schools, watched me study Greek from the sideline of their baseball games. They came downstairs in the morning to find me furiously typing whatever assignment was due that afternoon. And they listened to me say for the last 3 years, yes, we can talk about Disney World when mommy graduates. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the most amazing thing that NES gave me. And that is a community of friends that I never could have imagined gaining in my 30s. When John and I started in Albany, there were 5 of us on site. We were the only 2 left by the end of the semester, and we had to make a decision. We knew we would only survive if we survived together. So we told Marilyn to schedule us for the accelerated 3-year program, and we promised each other that no matter what, we would stick it out. We had no idea what that would look like, how many miles we would drive, how many hours of car conversations about life, and how many dinners at Chipotle that would include. John, you're the youth pastor, so you're more up with teen lingo, but I think that makes you my official ride or die for life. I think I used that right. I was lucky enough to have 3 different communities while at NES because of our non-traditional path, and each of them has been life-giving. We've seen each other through house sales, job changes, the birth of children, the death of family members, and everything in between. I've cried with my cohorts, laughed, dined, complained, and whined with them. The professors at NES have also been a godsend, full of grace and care for each of us, but also brilliant and challenging. They have given me something to aspire to. In fact, when I grow up, I want to be some sort of cross between Dr. Middleton and Dr. Wally. So, as I come to the end of my seminary journey, I do so with a full heart. I've learned through this time that there's no right way to do any of this, that life is messy and unpredictable, and no matter how well-intentioned we are at the start, we have to stay flexible and trust the process. But most importantly, I learned that we were not designed to do this life alone. The people I met here have made me a better pastor, friend, parent, wife, and person, and I am proud to officially be an NES alum. Thank you.